Easy. This is my first time. The rancher slipped it in and whispered, "It'll be over quick." The sun was beginning to dip behind the hills, painting the sky in soft shades of orange and pink. Alex wiped the sweat from his brow, feeling both tired and strangely proud. The day had been long, filled with new lessons and challenges that pushed him further than he thought he could go. Working on the ranch was no easy task, but Alex was beginning to realize that every small effort counted. He glanced around at the open fields, the rows of crops, and the gentle slope of the pastures, where the animals grazed. It all looked peaceful, almost like a painting, yet he knew how much work it took to keep everything running smoothly. Earlier that morning, Alex had been hesitant. The chores seemed overwhelming, and he worried he might not be able to keep up. But now, after hours of feeding animals, repairing fences, and learning how to handle the different tasks, he felt a sense of accomplishment. He remembered the encouragement from Mr. Thompson, the rancher who had taken him under his wing. "You'll get the hang of it," Mr. Thompson had said with a reassuring smile. "It's all about patience, attention, and care, one step at a time." Alex had taken those words to heart. He realized that rushing through the work only led to mistakes, and mistakes on a ranch could be costly. Today he had learned not just how to perform each task, but how to think ahead, how to anticipate problems before they arose. For example, while fixing a section of broken fence, he noticed a weak spot in another area that could have allowed the animals to wander off. He reported it to Mr. Bessel, Thompson, who nodded in approval. "Good eye," he said. "That's exactly what I mean about paying attention. You're learning fast." By midday, Alex had started to feel more confident. He discovered that handling the animals required patience and gentleness. Each creature had its own personality. Some were timid, some stubborn, and some seemed almost playful. There was a particular calf, a small brown one with curious eyes, that had taken a liking to him. Every time Alex approached, it nudged him gently, as if inviting him to spend more time with it. The simple act of caring for the animals was becoming satisfying in a way Alex hadn't expected. He realized that the ranch wasn't just about hard work. It was about forming a connection with the land and its inhabitants. During a brief break, Alex sat under a large oak tree near the barn, sipping water and taking in the view. He watched the sky shift colors, listening to the soft rustle of leaves and the distant calls of birds returning home for the evening. For the first time, he felt a sense of calm he hadn't experienced in a long while. Life in the city had always been fast, noisy, and stressful, but here, time seemed to move differently. It was slower, more deliberate, and it gave him space to think, to breathe, and to appreciate the small victories of the day. Later in the afternoon, Mr. Thompson asked Alex to help with a new task, preparing the feed for the livestock. This involved measuring out precise amounts of hay, grains, and supplements to ensure the animals were healthy and strong. Alex had never realized how much care went into feeding the animals properly. He carefully followed the instructions, learning to weigh and mix the feed while listening to Mr. Thompson's advice. "It's not just about feeding them," Mr. Thompson explained. "It's about understanding their needs and giving them what's best. That's how you take care of something that depends on you." As the evening approached, the ranch took on a quiet, golden glow. Alex helped herd the animals back into their pens for the night. It was a task that required coordination and patience, and he worked alongside Mr. Thompson, moving slowly to guide the animals without startling them. The sense of teamwork was comforting. Alex realized that working on a ranch was not something one did alone. It required trust, communication, and mutual respect between humans and animals alike. After the animals were settled, Alex stayed behind to help clean the barn. It was hard, tiring work, but it gave him a deeper appreciation for the effort that went into maintaining a clean and safe environment for the animals. As he swept and arranged tools, he reflected on how much he had learned in just a few days. Each task, no matter how small, played an important role in the bigger picture. He felt proud of his growing skills and his ability to contribute meaningfully. That night, as he prepared to leave the barn, Alex looked up at the stars that were beginning to appear in the clear night sky. The quiet of the ranch at night was different from anything he had known. There were no honking cars or flashing lights, only the sounds of nature, the chirping of crickets, the distant moo of a cow, the soft rustling of the wind through the trees. He felt a deep sense of peace and satisfaction, knowing that he had faced challenges, learned new skills, and made progress in ways he hadn't imagined when he first arrived. Before heading inside, Alex took a moment to talk with Mr. Thompson. They sat on the porch, watching the stars and talking about the day. Mr. Thompson shared stories of his own experiences on the ranch, the hardships he had faced, and the lessons he had learned. Alex listened intently, feeling inspired by the resilience and dedication of someone who had devoted their life to caring for the land and its animals. It made him realize that he was part of something larger than himself, a community of people who worked hard, respected nature, and valued responsibility and commitment. As he finally went to bed that night, Alex felt a quiet excitement for the days to come. He knew that the journey ahead would continue to challenge him, but he was ready. He had discovered a new sense of purpose, a new respect for hard work, and a growing connection to the life around him. The ranch, with all its demands and rewards, was teaching him lessons that went far beyond chores and tasks. It was teaching him about patience, observation, responsibility, and the satisfaction that comes from seeing the results of your efforts. Alex drifted off to sleep with a sense of contentment, knowing that tomorrow would bring new experiences, new challenges, and new opportunities to grow. He realized that the journey he had started was not just about learning to work on a ranch. It was about discovering himself and the strength and determination he didn't know he had. The morning sun rose slowly over the hills, casting a warm, golden light across the ranch. Birds chirped cheerfully, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves of the trees, carrying with it the fresh, earthy smell of the fields. Alex awoke early, feeling refreshed and ready to face another day. Over the past few days, he had learned so much about the ranch, the animals, and the land itself. Each task had taught him patience, observation, and care. But today felt different. It was a day full of new responsibilities that would challenge him in ways he hadn't experienced before. After a quick breakfast of fresh bread, eggs, and milk, Alex joined Mr. Thompson outside. The rancher greeted him with a warm smile. "Today you'll be helping with the irrigation and planting new crops," he said. Alex felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. He had helped with simple tasks before, but this was more complex. Planting required precision, understanding the soil, and knowing how to care for young plants until they grew strong. Mr. Pat Thompson handed him a small notebook filled with notes and instructions. "Take your time, follow the steps, and don't rush," he advised. "The land will respond to your care." Alex began by walking through the fields, examining the soil and the patterns of the existing crops. He noticed the differences in texture, moisture, and sunlight in various areas. Some patches were soft and rich, perfect for planting, while others were harder and required extra work. Alex learned to test the soil by feeling it, observing its color, and even smelling it to understand its quality. It was fascinating to see how the smallest details could affect the growth of plants. He realized that farming wasn't just about planting seeds. It was about understanding the land and working with it patiently. Next, Alex learned how to set up the irrigation system. Pipes had to be placed carefully so that water reached every row of crops without waste. He followed Mr. Thompson's instructions closely, measuring distances, adjusting angles, and checking that each connection was secure. The work was physically demanding, but Alex didn't mind. Each successful connection brought a sense of satisfaction. When the system was finally ready, water flowed gently across the fields, soaking the soil evenly. Alex watched the water spread, feeling proud that his efforts would directly help the crops grow. After setting up the irrigation, it was time to plant the seeds. Mr. Thompson showed Alex the proper depth and spacing for each type of crop. Planting too shallow or too deep can affect growth, he explained. And spacing matters because each plant needs room to reach the sunlight and gather nutrients from the soil. Alex carefully followed the instructions, placing each seed with precision. As he worked, he noticed the rhythm of the task. It was repetitive but also calming. Each seed he planted felt like a small promise of growth and life, a symbol of patience and effort paying off in time. While planting, Alex also learned about companion planting, how some crops could help each other grow better when planted nearby. For instance, certain flowers could attract helpful insects, while others could repel pests naturally. Alex marveled at the complexity and intelligence of nature. He realized that a healthy farm wasn't just about hard work. It was about observation, understanding, and harmony with the environment. Every action he took had consequences, and it was fascinating to see how interconnected everything was. By midday, the sun was high and the work had made Alex sweat and tired, but he felt exhilarated. Mr. Thompson suggested a short break, and they sat under a tree to enjoy some fresh fruit and water. As they rested, Mr. Thompson shared stories about previous seasons, the challenges of unpredictable weather, and the strategies he had learned over decades of farming. Alex listened intently, realizing that the ranch was a place where knowledge, experience, and careful attention came together. He felt inspired by Mr. Thompson's dedication and patience. After the break, Alex returned to the field to continue planting. This time he worked on a section that required extra care because the soil was uneven. He had to level it, remove small stones, and enrich it with compost before planting. It was slow and meticulous work, but Alex didn't mind. He began to appreciate the value of effort, of seeing a project through from beginning to end. Each time he finished a row, he stepped back to admire his work. The neat rows of freshly planted seeds stretched out before him, a testament to his focus and care. Later in the afternoon, a problem arose. A section of the irrigation system began leaking, and water was pooling in one area. Alex felt a moment of panic. He didn't want the crops to suffer because of a mistake. But Mr. Thompson calmly guided him through the repair process. "Mistakes happen," he said. "What matters is how you handle them. Think, observe, and fix the problem." Alex followed the instructions carefully, checking each joint, tightening connections, and ensuring the water flowed evenly again. When the system worked perfectly, he felt a surge of pride. He had faced a challenge, learned from it, and corrected it successfully. As the day went on, Alex also had the chance to observe the wildlife around the fields, and birds flitted from tree to tree, insects buzzed over the crops, and even a curious deer appeared at the edge of the pasture. Mr. Thompson explained how maintaining balance between farming and nature was essential. "We work with the land, not against it," he said. "Respect for nature makes everything stronger, our crops, the animals, and even ourselves." Alex thought about how much he had learned about responsibility, patience, and observation. Farming was not just about work. It was about being aware and considerate of the life around him. As evening approached, Alex completed the final rows of planting and checked the irrigation system one last time. The fields were ready, and he felt a deep sense of accomplishment. The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting long shadows and painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. Alex stood quietly, taking in the view. He realized that every drop of sweat, every careful movement, and every lesson he had learned had brought him to this moment. He felt connected to the land, to the animals, and to the work he had done. Mr. Thompson came over and clapped him on the shoulder. "You did a great job today, Alex," he said. "I can see how much effort and care you put into everything. That's the heart of ranch life: hard work, patience, and pride in what you do." Alex smiled, feeling a warm sense of satisfaction. He realized that the journey on the ranch was teaching him lessons that went far beyond farming. It was teaching him about responsibility, resilience, and the importance of patience and careful attention in everything he did. That night, as Alex lay in bed, he reflected on the day. He thought about the seeds he had planted, the irrigation he had set up, and the small challenges he had overcome. He felt proud, but also aware that there was still so much more to learn. The ranch had become more than just a place of work. It had become a place of growth, learning, and self-discovery. Alex drifted off to sleep with excitement for the days ahead, knowing that each day would bring new lessons, new challenges, and new rewards. The morning air was crisp, carrying the scent of dew and freshly turned soil. Alex woke early, just as he had done every day since arriving at the ranch, but today felt different. There was a quiet excitement in the air, a sense that something important was about to happen. Over the past few days, he had worked tirelessly, learning the rhythms of the land, the animals, and the routines of the ranch. He had faced challenges, made mistakes, learned from them, and discovered strengths he hadn't known he had. Today would be the final test of everything he had learned so far. After breakfast, Alex met Mr. Thompson outside the main barn. The rancher had a proud look in his eyes. "Today, I want you to handle a full morning on your own," he said. "I'll be nearby if you need help, but I want you to try everything yourself, from feeding the animals to checking the crops to maintaining the equipment." Alex's stomach fluttered with a mix of nervousness and excitement. This was the moment to see just how much he had learned. He started by feeding the animals. Walking along the rows of pens, Alex called out softly to each creature, noting how they responded to his voice and presence. The animals had become familiar to him, and he had learned to understand their behaviors and moods. Some were eager, rushing toward him for food, while others were more cautious, testing his patience and gentle approach. Alex moved with care, filling each trough, adjusting water supplies, and making sure every animal was comfortable. He felt proud of how much he had grown in his ability to care for them, remembering the first day when even holding the bucket felt intimidating. Next, he inspected the fields and crops. Walking through the rows, Alex observed the young plants he had planted just a few days earlier. He checked the irrigation, feeling the soil to see if it was moist enough, noticing any spots that might need attention. A small patch of soil had dried slightly, and he carefully adjusted the water flow to cover the area evenly. Every action reminded him of Mr. Thompson's words. Patience, observation, and attention to detail were key. He realized that success on the ranch wasn't about speed, it was about care, focus, and understanding the natural rhythm of life. After tending the crops, Alex moved on to equipment maintenance. He had learned how to clean and inspect tools, ensure the irrigation system was working, and even check the tractor for any minor issues. This work required concentration, and Alex felt a satisfying sense of responsibility. Each nut he tightened, each tool he placed back in order, and each adjustment he made gave him confidence. The ranch was not just about animals and plants. It was about balance, structure, and diligence. Today, he could see how all the pieces came together, and he felt part of that bigger picture. By late morning, the sun was high in the sky, and Alex had completed most of his tasks. He took a brief pause under a large oak tree to rest and reflect. Looking out across the fields, he noticed the gentle sway of the crops in the breeze, the calm movement of the animals in their pens, and the subtle signs of life all around. It struck him how interconnected everything on the ranch was. The animals relied on the crops relied on careful irrigation, and the land relied on human care and understanding. Every action mattered, and he felt proud to play a part in this delicate balance. Suddenly, Alex noticed a small problem. A young calf had gotten slightly loose from its pen, nudging the gate open as it explored the surroundings. Without panic, Alex approached slowly, speaking in soft tones to calm the calf. Using the gentle techniques he had learned, he guided the animal back safely to its pen. The small victory filled him with pride. Not long ago, handling a calf would have been intimidating, but now he felt confident, patient, and in control. Each challenge he had faced on the ranch had prepared him for moments like this, and he realized that growth came from experience and persistence. After securing the calf, Alex returned to the fields to finish checking the crops. He discovered a few weeds beginning to sprout between the young plants. Remembering Mr. Robin Thompson's advice, he carefully removed each weed, taking care not to disturb the young seedlings. He realized that attention to detail and patience could prevent small problems from growing into big ones. It was a lesson that applied not just to the ranch, but to life itself. Careful attention, consistent effort, and thoughtful action could create meaningful results over time. By early afternoon, Alex had completed all the tasks. He felt a deep sense of satisfaction as he looked across the ranch. The animals were healthy, the crops were growing well, and the equipment was in perfect order. He had managed a full morning on his own, applying everything he had learned. Mr. Thompson walked up to him with a smile. "Alex," he said, "you've done an excellent job. I can see how much you've learned and grown in just a few days. You've earned the right to call yourself part of the ranch." Alex felt a rush of pride and happiness. He realized that the work had transformed him, not just in skill, but in character. He had become more patient, attentive, responsible, and confident. As the afternoon wore on, Alex helped Mr. Thompson with some final tasks before the day ended. Together, they checked the animals one last time, ensured the irrigation system was running smoothly, and walked through the fields to admire the neat rows of young crops. Alex felt a sense of accomplishment that went beyond mere completion of chores. He understood the deeper satisfaction of seeing effort, care, and persistence come together to create something meaningful. The ranch was alive, thriving because of careful attention and dedication, and he had played a part in that. Before leaving the fields, Alex and Mr. Thompson sat on the porch of the main house, sipping water and watching the sun slowly descend. Mr. Thompson shared stories of past seasons, explaining the challenges of drought, storms, and unexpected obstacles. Alex listened intently, appreciating the wisdom that came from years of experience. He realized that learning was a lifelong journey. Even though he had learned so much in a short time, there was always more to discover, more to understand, and more ways to grow. As evening fell, Alex helped with the final evening chores, checking the animals, tidying the barn, and organizing the tools. The ranch was calm, the air filled with the soft sounds of nature, the mooing of cows, the chirping of crickets, and the distant rustle of leaves. Standing in the quiet, Alex reflected on his journey. Just days ago, he had been unsure, hesitant, and inexperienced. Now he felt capable, confident, and connected to the land. He had learned more than just tasks. He had learned patience, observation, responsibility, and the satisfaction that comes from consistent effort. That night, Alex lay in bed, feeling a quiet sense of fulfillment. The ranch had become more than a place to work. It had become a place of learning, growth, and reflection. Every sunrise, every chore, and every challenge had taught him something valuable. He realized that the journey was never just about the tasks themselves, but about the lessons hidden within them. He had discovered resilience, patience, and the joy of seeing the results of hard work. Before drifting to sleep, Alex thought about the future. He knew he would return to the city soon, but the lessons of the ranch would stay with him forever. He would carry the patience, responsibility, and awareness he had gained into every part of his life. And he knew that he could always return to this place, a place where hard work, care, and attention created not just thriving land and healthy animals, but a stronger, more confident version of himself. As the stars filled the sky and the ranch lay quiet under the moonlight, Alex felt a sense of peace and accomplishment. He had faced challenges, learned, grown, and succeeded. And in the process, he had discovered something even more important: the value of effort, the rewards of patience, and the satisfaction that comes from being fully present and attentive in everything you do. The ranch had given him more than skills. It had given him confidence, purpose, and a deeper connection to life itself. With that thought, Alex closed his eyes and smiled, knowing that he had completed not just a series of tasks, but a journey of growth and discovery that would stay with him for the rest of his life.